Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy here for Whimsy Stamps. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be making a couple of shaped cards with these fun Bizzy Bees stamp sets and paper pad. So we have Bizzy Bees 1 and Bizzy Bees 2, as well as the Bizzy Bees 6x6 paper pad. And we'll also be using the honeycomb nested dies, as well as several other products that I end up bringing in, some that I show that I think I'll use, some that I didn't think I would use and I end up bringing in. But everything will be linked and listed downstairs in the description box. So if you are interested in anything, I would encourage you to go ahead and use those links and hop over to the Whimsy Stamp store and find all the fun products over there. So, getting along into this process, you see that I have die cut several different of the pattern papers from the Bizzy Bees pattern paper pack with these hexagon shaped dies. Now I have the 3 smallest dies that I've cut the pattern paper from. I've also cut panels from watercolor card with the second largest die, and I've cut 2 of that kind of a mustardy honey yellow, as well as 2 of the sky blue with the largest of the largest hexagon die, which is scalloped. So I cut 2 of those because those will end up being our card base. So you can see that I just did a little bit of auditioning with these hexagon shapes to see which ones fit together and in what pattern. The pattern, patterns are a lot like riddles and a lot like numbers to me, and some patterns come really quick and some not so much. So you do you. If it's difficult, choose a simpler pattern just to make your life easy. But in the end, this ultimately was not very difficult. So I did have fun with this. I love that whole paper pieced look and have been having a lot of fun with these pattern papers lately. And yeah, I don't always play with pattern papers, but lately I've just been having a good time with them. So I create 2 panels in this same manner. Again, kind of puzzle piecing them together, if you will, trying to figure out which ones go where and what size and that kind of thing. And I think they end up both being very, very cute. These end up being, like I said, the panels for these cards, and the bases are over there to the left. I've not yet done anything with them other than cut them out. And yeah, so once I get it all glued down, and I know that I have all of my hexagon pieces in place where I want them, then I cut off the excess with my scissors, as you can see on the screen right now. And that gets all of that excess out of the way so that I can move on to the next step. And for these particular cards, the next step will be trying to figure out which panel goes on which card base. And I am loving the way that it is. The one that has more of the blue and pink go onto the blue base, and the other goes on to the mustardy yellow. Now here is where I have the straight edgers die set, and I just thought this particular set looked like the little bee trails, right? So I do this kind of loop-de-loo one on the panel that's going to end up on the mustardy yellow card base, and you can see that up close there. It's just a real subtle detail, but I think it's adorable. And so I do this one on 3 sides of this particular card panel, and then the other one that is not so much loop-de-loo, it's more of a, I don't know, a meandering trail, if you will. I do that on all 6 sides. So I just thought that was really cute, and I decided I would go ahead and do a little bit of ink blending on both panels just to kind of make those stitched patterns stand out a little bit more. So once I did it on the panels, I went ahead and did it on the outside of the top of the base, if that makes sense. So there's a top and a bottom. The top of the base got the ink blending and the splatter, and then the bottom of the base got ink blending and the splatter, because that's going to be the inside, because that one gets flipped upside down. So I do that on both cards, the base as well as the panel, and then of course the splattering just adds that much more detail and fun. And then I take my Barely Arts glue and I glue the panel down to the top of the base for each of these cards. And I've also taken my little score pal or score buddy or whatever type of score tool you have, and I scored the base at about 1/4 of an inch, and then I just put a little bit of glue. You can also use some score tape, whatever adhesive works best for you. Just make sure that it's something that's strong, because when you open and close it, you want to make sure that it's going to be able to withhold that all that pressure and all that use. And of course, like I said, I just used my Barely Arts glue, and I made sure everything was adhered down to both of them before I played with it too much, because I didn't want to open and close them if they weren't quite ready. So here's where I'm stamping out my sweet little bees, and I just chose several. To be honest, I'm not sure if I chose from the Bizzy Bees 1 or Bizzy Bees 2. I think it was from Bizzy Bees 2, if I'm not mistaken. And I just stamped out several that I thought were fun. And then if you want to see the Olos that I used, you can go back a little bit and just pause that screen, and you can see that's most of them that I used. I did come in with some other, with some greens for some of their wings as well as some of their eyes. But yeah, just again, my down and dirty coloring, never anything fancy. There I showed the reds that I used, but again, go back, just pause it. Just pause it. I know it only flashes on the screen for a second, but if you really want to know which ones I use, just go back and pause, and then you can jot those numbers down. But I'm just going in with 3 shades of yellow and 3 shades of a dark gray, because if you use black, you're not going to see anything like that. We'll lose any and all of your detail. So I do the typical striped of a yellow and black on all of these sweet little bees. Now I did stamp out 5. I only end up using 4 of them. I do fussy cut them all out once I'm done coloring. And the 5th one, I just decided not to use him. He's a Putin bee. And I thought he was funny when I stamped him out, and I still think he's funny. I just didn't think he fit with these 2 cards. So it's all good. There are so many to choose from. Like, you can make them say whatever you want them to say. I think they're all absolutely adorable. They're so joyful, and they're so much fun. And yeah, so again, just that down and dirty coloring. And then here I have chosen my sentiments. I have the Could You Be Any Sweeter and the Hap Bee, and just going around those edges with a little bit of ink just to tie them into what I've already gotten done. And I also used the was it the Fun with Words? Yeah, I used the Fun with Words die set to die cut them out, and then I did the little fishtail on the Hap Bee, and then you can see that I've also used the Yay word and shadow die as well as the Birthday word and shadow dies, and just created my cards based on those. So I have lifted everything up on, not everything, now that I say that, the things that I have lifted up, they're up on some double-sided foam tape, very low profile foam tape, but I think they're very, very cute. Very, very cute. I love that one little bee is kind of peeking around the exclamation point. I think that's super cute. Kind of looks like he might be hanging on a pole as well, however you want to view that. And then I decided they needed a little bit of bling. They needed some embellishments. So I pulled out my Autumn Buzz confetti mix from This Calls for Confetti, and it has sweet little sunflowers or daisies, however you want to view those, as well as some bees. Now there are different sizes of the flowers and the bees, and there's also some gold confetti in there. There's some kind of it's a wood grain, and then there's like a tubular. I feel like an 80s girl, totally tubular when I say that word. But that's in there. There's like these little bitty tubes, as well as the gold, as I already mentioned, and the wood grain. And then there's also some kind of that kind of a honey yellow or a sunshiny yellow. I did not use the yellow or the wood grain. I just used the gold along with the bees and the flowers, and I think they're absolutely adorable. So here they are. Yay! Could you be any sweeter? And then Hap Bee Birthday. I think they're absolutely adorable, celebrating and singing in the honor of the birthday person and just admiring the other person who could not be any sweeter. So guys, these are my cards. Thank you, Whimsy, for having such fun stamp sets and products and papers and all the things. I just appreciate you, and I love working with your products and stuff, and I just appreciate being a part of your team. So y'all, if you want to shop at Whimsy, if you're interested in any of these products, use those links downstairs in the description box. Just click on the more and the rest of it will open up and you'll see everything that you need to see. But in the meantime, y'all, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy for Whimsy Stamps. I hope you join us on all of our social media platforms. And until next time, mwah, I'm out.